Welcome to This Week in the PNFL. I'm your host, Mark Hill. And in this crowded booth that we have today, we have Mitch, Dean, Steve, and Shuggy with us. So how you guys doing? Everyone chime in one at a time.
Yeah, I wish you'd have put on some deodorant, Mark.
I should have opened up the window. I know. So how you doing out there, Mitch?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing great.
Great.
How about you?
Doing great. Dean, how you doing?
Very good.
All right. Steve.
Great.
Shuggy.
Not too bad.
All right, guys. We took a little hiatus last week, some scheduling issues, but we are back now, and you see that the room is packed. So we have one main topic that we're going to go over today, and then touch a little bit on the upcoming games for this week, and then we're going to do a big, massive pick'em segment. So that one should be kind of interesting. We don't have the numbers, the point spreads yet, so we're just going to be going off of what we've seen from the communications going back and forth, from the draft going back and forth, knowing Mitch, doing all his analysis and all this other stuff that he goes with. And I have my trusty military coin here, so I'm just going to be flipping a coin for each team. So let's just go ahead and jump right into this. So one item that we talked about during pre-show is basically marketing the league and trying to expand what we do or what we enjoy doing as a passion to bring more coaches in, and looking at reviving the XFBS. So what I want to do is go around the table, have everyone talk. I'm going to start off with Dean and Shuggy, and then I'm going to have Mitch and Steve jump into it. So this is going to be a nice long time for us to get all your thoughts out and everything, and I'll just moderate it. So just like we did in pre-show, let's go ahead and start off with you, Dean. That's what ideas that you have on this?
Yeah, the main excuse me. The main focus that I can see is there'll be a number of ideas to market the PNFL and bring more people into this. But one of the ideas that I really think is really viable and I like is if we bring back the XFBS, and there's a lot of hardcore college football fans that would be interested in, I think, that haven't coached football pro in the past, but the number of people that have coached football pro in the past that are interested in joining the league is a very small group. A lot of people that played in the old leagues that kind of moved on from it aren't interested in anymore. But there are a number of people that are hardcore football fans, especially college football, but a lot of those like the NFL too, excuse me, that I think would join a college league so they could manage their favorite college team, and in the process would be willing to learn. And I know that sounds like a lot, but there are people that can do that are willing to do that. They'd be willing to learn how to coach a team in football pro. And I think the XFBS would be a better environment for, newer coaches and general managers, especially since you don't really have much of a general manager role at the college league other than maybe like recruiting and whatever degree of the college football system that's emulated by the XFBS. But I think it'd be a good place for people that are new to putting together game plans and profiles and or even designing plays to learn how to do that in the XFBS. And then some of those people that are successful there, they might be interested in then also coaching a team in the PNFL. And I think depending on how many people we get in and how large the XFBS might grow, and I think the way Steve would probably want to run it is just almost all active teams, not a bunch of CPU teams like the previous version of it. But I think if we got a lot of people interested in that, we'd ultimately be able to get more people in the PNFL, and we'd not only have a constant pool of candidates to fill vacancies, but maybe even might raise the possibility that the PNFL could expand. But a lot of that is marketing of both the PNFL and, of course, marketing to bring people into the XFBS, which I think is possible. I think we could bring people in who would be new to football pro, but are big-time football fans. And I think that's one way, and just one of several ideas of, what could be done to market this and bring more people into this game that we love.
All right, Shuggy, you want to add to that?
Well, first off, I just want to say that we do a lot of what I'm suggesting already. I just think that we need to make this game look cool again. Like, what do we do better than Madden? Why is this game better than Madden? Okay. And we present it as something cool. And then on the other side, we make things a little bit more professional. Now, this is all for presentation's sake, right? I mean, if there's Dean's talking about the limited market of guys that are out there, because those would be the first ones that we would want to bring in is the old guys, right? The guys that know the game, right? But they got to have a reason, okay? An incentive to get into it again. And one of it would be, okay, make it easier to come back. Because I'll tell you, having just come back recently, there's a lot to do. And so we need to make the barrier to entry easier to get through. And then the rules, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the way it works now, but but it is kind of hard to navigate 3 different sets of rules and gosh, when I tried to make my cheat sheet, that took a long time, and then I even left off a play category at the end of it, and I thought, God, that was dumb. But anyway, so no, it just takes a long time. Okay, so we need to make like a rule book. Okay, in 1 PDF file, bam, and then so that would let anyone coming back in say, okay, they're getting into something professional, which obviously this is. I mean, the best players in the world are here, obviously. So we need to, make that a selling point. We need to make it so that guys want to get back in. I don't know if we'd want to think about creating some kind of prize for the winner, almost like playing fantasy football, where everybody puts in some money and then the winner gets the prize or whatever. My kid runs a fantasy league, and then he'll buy a ring for the winner. Whoever get one of those.
Or
rings.
like a mini excuse me, like a mini Super Bowl trophy or something like that.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, some kind of award.
A Sacco trophy.
Yeah, I was going to say that next, a Sacco trophy.
Yeah. Okay.
That's for the teams at the opposite end of the spectrum. That are
yeah. Hey, I was in that bold. When do I get mine?
See, Mitch will get a Sacco before he gets a Super Bowl. Got to make sure Mitch is still hanging out there.
And I haven't finished last ever in this league, dude.
Didn't we actually play that game in like week 14 or whatever it was?
Do what now?
Yeah, something like that.
Didn't we actually play that? Wasn't that the Atlanta game, rather? Ended up being that game?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it was. I think it was week 14. Something like that. Yeah. So, let's pivot over to Sean. Or to Steve, sorry.
Say, who's Sean? What?
Sorry, hold on. Hang on. I got to get some. Go ahead, Steve. I got to get some water. Okay, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, Steve, it sounds like all this pins on you, man. If I don't bring back the XBFS, this is all for naught.
All right, it's over. Give up your dream. So let's recognize Sean. He was one of the XFBS former members. So yeah, he's a cool guy. All right. So bringing back the XFPS, one does not have to require my presence. So if you really want to bring it back, and and I'm the only one in the way, someone else can bring it back and run it. I'm just throwing that out there. I have the website. I have the files. Nothing stops someone else from jumping in there and taking that that control. But let's talk about what needs to be done. I have a list. One, the website is outdated and it's in Adobe Muse, so I have to change whatever the I probably have to get like Square or something because I'm like it's in Adobe Muse, which Adobe doesn't even support anymore. So I can't even edit the website. That's why it hasn't been edited, if you're wondering. Um, uh, Simming the games. Who's going to do that? I mean, I could set up probably a macro that would run all the games so that they're video based, just like the PNFL, because you're not going to sell an XFBS league to someone if you do not have your YouTube video thing going too. So that's a key thing. Player ratings. I like the idea of making all the player rating potentials max and then setting the player actual to be on a 4 to 5 year level of improvement, with obviously some blue chips being closer to being, like able to graduate in 2 years. Then as far as the transfer portal, we need to figure out how to make that work. And then I wanted to make sure that the future version of it would completely be points based. So all recruiting, free agency, draft, all of that would be points based. So there would be no squiggly draft or none of that nonsense. Our draft went 14 rounds, 15 rounds. It was insane because we were trying to fill up a 63 player roster. And when you have players with only the age of 1 through 4, your roster is gutted with at least 15 to 20 players ranging from there every season. So, and plus we had red shirts, so that helped a little bit, but not enough. But we had the rules around the red shirts where you can activate red shirts and they lose a red shirt ability, but they could use it again if they were injured. But we would have to basically, by shifting to a point system, it makes it a lot easier than if I did a draft, because it took forever to do 14-round draft. It took us a month minimum every time. And then the other thing is the PNFL play pool. I would mandate that only the PNFL play pool would be used, because I personally could not stand reviewing plays. I do not know where Charlie gets the motivation to do it. It was just a living hell for me, and I'm so glad it's gone off my plate. And then also another thing is the forum is dead, so I'd have to get a new forum built and set up and all that to be able to do it again. And then the last thing, yes, it was a lot. I told you I had a list. The rules totally would need to clean up. I mean, as written, definitely to say how the point system works, how the recruiting works, how the PNFL play pool should be used, et cetera, and all that. Because obviously there's been a lot of rule changes in the PNFL that affect things. There would be some flexibility. So like in the PNFL, we didn't have as much restriction on things like rollouts and QB keepers, because we wanted to give that more collegiate feel to it for profile design, so and game plan design. So we had that, but everything else would be the same. I mean, it's the same profile requirements, the same set of plays. It would just be the game plans that would be a little bit more flexible. But the thing is the reason why we were trying to stay very aligned to the PNFL, because we were worried back when the XFBS was created, we were worried that people would use their XFBS, PPPs in the PNFL and tick off Rich and Charlie because it's like not really fully compliant. So there are some things we have to be careful about when we do this, especially for new players. But basically, it's doable. But there's a laundry list of stuff that has to be done to make this thing exist again. And then I have to have time. So I will not have time till maybe the fall. And the reason why I say that is it's all about my son. and he's thinking of going back to college, right? And essentially, if he does, the empty nest factor kicks in, right? So ultimately, that's kind of like the main impediment as well. But ultimately, it's possible. I'm not saying it's dead. It's not a dead dream. I think it's something that can be done, but there is a lot that has to happen first.
I do have a response to that, and I'm listening to what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying, Steve. I would be willing to be part of this and bring it back, maybe even play somewhat the role that Charlie plays in the PNFL, but then also be involved in playing the games and uploading the videos or whatever. And there's some things I have to learn how to do that, but I could do that. I would want you, Steve, as a league officer, even if it didn't involve a lot of time, at minimum, helping us make sure the league is being run right and kind of playing that role that Jerry does in the PNFL, where he's a league officer and he, advises and helps with things. And I would hope you'd play that role. But we need a third person, and the third person, namely, to run the website and the forum.
Right.
That might be something that possibly Sean is willing to do, because he's pretty good with like websites and forums and IT kind of stuff. That he might be the person to do that. Perhaps that's an idea.
Guys, listen. This is what I was kind of getting back to what I was alluding to before. All right, you guys are trying to essentially recreate the PNFL, okay? And that's kind of like, it has evolved with a lot of these rules over time, okay? Where experienced people that have played this game, spent bazillion hours on it and stuff like that can get adjust to, okay? But if you're talking about bringing in people that haven't played this game before, I think we don't need to worry about recruiting. We don't need to worry about, college football's a mess right now anyway with all of these guys transferring schools and stuff. We can just do something where, I don't know, whatever's easiest to get the rosters made. But slow it way down. Just get it so it's super easy for people, because we want to get them easily playing. And maybe we don't even allow people to make custom plays in the college. Maybe we just have a set of plays that you can use. When I was talking to Dean before, it was like, well, now it's just me thinking, okay, but I was thinking, well, why don't we just use the default plays that the game comes with, for if you were to start a new league, just to make it simple. Say, oh, you can only use these plays that are default, and
just as simple and use the PNFL playbook.
Well, whatever is simple, okay, and then just go that way. Just make it simple and fast.
You don't need me for simple.
Get in there.
Right.
You don't need me for simple. You can have anybody do that.
All right, guys.
Right. Well,
so
that's always the goal, right? Not to get rid of you, but specifically, but to make it so that other people, various people, can step in and take over if needed.
Right. All right. Before we continue with the next topic, we need to take a very quick pause. We will be right back. Okay, we are back, and joining this conversation is our co-commish, Richard Colosino. How you doing, Rich?
I'm good, Mark. Nice to be here.
Nice to join us.
Mark, I want to go on the record as saying I never actually responded to the email with a yes.
Nope, not good enough. Nope. I'm gonna pull a Mitch and say nope. You should have been there. Nope. So
I'm here.
So what we were talking about, and I still have let's see, Mitch needs to comment on this as well, and I'll have you comment on this segment as well. We were going through the discussion of the XFBS and talking about bringing that one back. Steve was just going through all the work that it takes to get that league up and running. So before I get your take on it, I'd like to have Mitch go ahead and put his thoughts in on that league as well, and then I'll allow you to kind of get caught up and get up to speed, and then have your comment on it as well. So, Mitch, go ahead and put your thoughts in on this, please.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here kind of listening to everybody and your thoughts, and it seems like there is a desire from everyone to have, some sort of developmental league, and by developmental, I mean a coach developmental league, not a, players in the game type thing. I think maybe we're getting hung up on saying that, bringing back XFBS, whether you call it XFBS or something. I think ultimately it's about, having a developmental league to hopefully feed and build players for the PNFL. Is kind of how I'm kind of compartmentalize it. And I think a lot of what Shuggy was talking about, I like. I think there's definitely a need if you do kind of a developmental league to make it very, very simple, very, very non-complicated as far as that goes. I think we also have to think about taking the rules even in the PNFL, whatever league we get into, and put it into like that PDF format. And I know something that Rich, you've reached out before, thinking about, all right, how can we, take the rules on the forum and clean them up, because they can't, because we've added to them on posts and things, and they get confusing if you don't read all the way down the list. And I know that's come up, on some different things. So I think that recommendation is really good. I think we also have to probably build in, if we were to do that, depending on some of those ideas that we talked about, taking the games and, posting them out on some of these out on multiple, multiple social media things, like whether it's, through Discord, Twitch, different gaming sites. I think we're going to have some tutorials around how to even manage files, right? I know we got a little bit of that in some of the things on our PNFL site, but I remember just a few seasons ago, and Rich knows more of this than the rest of y'all do. I was trying to mentor a new player who had never played the game before, and quite honestly, never really dealt with PC games. Had been a console gamer all his life, because he just turned 30, and his whole thing was all console stuff. That had to be one of the most frustrating things I've ever done, trying to teach this guy how he would go in and go into the C drive and all do this stuff and that. And so if there is a desire to bring on people who've never played this before, which I would love to do that too, I think we got to even think about making it as simple as that, helping people where they can even, manage through the file system. So those are just a few things that are coming through my mind, but I like the thoughts. I think we would continue to simplify it down. Yeah.
Was that the old Green Bay coach that you were working with?
Yeah. The guy that played that one season before, Rich said, we're just going to part ways with this guy.
Yeah, he had to go.
Okay,
No,
so
I think what you're saying is absolutely correct, Mitch. There's so much out there right now. I've been doing some instructional videos for my team. Okay, and you got these programs out there that my team, I meant my soccer team, not my football team, but
so did you post them out on the PNFL site?
Well, yeah. Well, no. Well, you can. There you just kind of screenshot. You can just take segments of your screen and screenshot. Okay, and then you can move whatever you want to move around, or just show what to do, and then you can have a video of it. of all these instructional things like moving files or whatever. I would assume you could do that. And then you just like hit the button and it just records it for you like in seconds. And then you can even gives you a place to store them and you just put out the link and bang,
Right.
and it's not very expensive. But anyway, there's a lot of different things. I mean, when I wasn't talking so much about my thing was about making it cool again. I mean, like having stuff on Instagram, okay, and Facebook, and using AI to create faces for our players instead of getting old pictures of guys that, we would have a different guy that different face. I was even thinking for your show. I mean, you three, I even told Dean one time. I mean, you guys should be sending a picture in and then have them, cartooned or whatever, and put that on your website or as part of the thing, like to bring out the personalities of the people involved, and just to make it something that you really want to be part of. I mean, that would just be cool and simple to get into. And so, yeah, I mean, Mitch, you added some good stuff in there. So I'll go ahead.
Well, I got a couple questions, and then I want to go ahead and get Rich in on this. Like I said, I'm letting him kind of listen in and get up to speed. So one question I have, when you were talking about earlier about having all the potentials listed or set to max, but, you have the numbers, the ratings a little bit lower. Are you referring to, when you're saying the max, are you talking about the PNFL max? Is there another format that you're using as far as the max on that? What type of scale are you using? Yes.
Okay. Yeah. What someone on our in the forum or I think it was in the forum mentioned the idea of, because there was a whole rating discussion going on, and they said, hey, why don't we just set all the potentials to max and then let the draft degrade from there by how many, because repeatedly throughout this recent draft we kept hearing like, well, why are you getting that guy? You need 16 seasons to get anywhere near the caliber of the starters in our league, stuff. So we can do that math. We can literally say, okay, well, hey, this is your max potentials. Everybody has the same max potentials, but the players' actuals really tell you where they really will ever fall or get to. And then some will just never reach that full max. Some will get close but never get there. And sometimes the coach would have to make a hard decision on what to put the training camp allocation toward. Well, what I was thinking is that the XFBS would be a great way to test that. So that's why I was like, hey, if we were to do this theory before the PNFL ever considers adopting it, it needs to be tested. And I think the PNFL is definitely not going to test it. So I think the XFBS would be an opportunity to test that whole approach.
Okay.
Well, and on that note, obviously using whatever league it would be as that developmental league, not only for coaches but for new rules. But then just that example alone, right? Going back to keeping it simple.
Yep.
If everyone had whether it's the max or same potential ratings, let's just say, honestly, then during a draft or however people would get their players, you're no longer having to go, well, let me see who's got the best combo of max and potential. I was going to draft the highest rated actual player. Because at that point you're not trying to figure out, well, because whoever has the highest is going to be the one that's going to get to the potentials to pass.
That's what it would be. And the players that are lower in actuals, you're going to have to make choices. So if you draft or recruit a lower rated wide receiver and you decide you're going to focus mostly on speed and hands to get him where you want him, those are choices you'll make. Or other people will train them more balanced, more even, and try to bring up all the ratings a little bit. But each coach will shape those players by how they train them and train them.
But the one thing I would just caution us about is, if kind of where next steps would be after this would be, all right, is it more thinking about how we would go about where to find potential places to market the thing, or market the league, or market what we're doing? Because I think that, or is it we rebuild a league or build out a league or however we want to do it? Because I don't think we'd have to determine which we want to go first. Because I don't think you want to build the cart before the horse and have all this stuff. But then it's like, well, crap, we really don't have any new ways to distribute what we got going on. So that's two things in my mind.
You guys are talking about a lot of things right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
that's why I messaged you. I said you better get in here, man. They're gonna,
So what is your take? What is your take on now that we've went on long enough to kind of get rich, to absorb some of this?
I heard three different things here.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, that last thing you were talking about with the potentials all at 99, actuals, it'll take you a year, blah, blah. That's a non-starter for the PNFL because that's the way the game is without all the, VPNFL attributes. That now you're talking Wild West of attributes. That's when you get 73 to 47.
Wait,
that's when you get 82 to nothing.
I think something's misunderstood. We're not talking 99s. We're talking pots that are maxed under the mid-max in the contract. In other words, a receiver. A receiver would be 84 speed, 86 acceleration, 91 agility.
Oh, okay, so you're talking PNFL.
That's what I was asked. That's what I want to know. So it's PNFL maxes.
All right, but then don't you?
And it wouldn't be for the PNFL; it'd be for this new developmental league.
Yeah.
Okay, let's pretend you did that for the PNFL. Doesn't that kind of take away some of the fun of the potential of the player? You're basically eliminating that half of it. And as Mitch said, I guess, then all you're doing is drafting the guys with the best actuals, and it's literally in order. You're drafting a wide receiver. You can go 1 through 10 who the first 10 wide receivers are going to be because of their actuals. That kind of takes away some of the fun of the draft because you're all targeting the same potential. So I don't like that at all.
So what if is there a way that during the draft you can mask out the potentials?
Of course. Yeah, of course. I could take the draft ahead of time first of all, I could take the draft from Charlie and eliminate him since he's a coach, create the draft myself, and put all the potentials at 99. The only person who would know what the potentials are me. And then you guys could just basically draft. Now, I don't know if that's the best way either because the NFL, they at least have combines and scouting reports and video of players. They know that, CJ Stroud is going to be a really good player. How do you guys know who's going to be a really good player based on what I did?
Well, what if you do this? What if you do this? You have all the potentials, all your potentials masked, but say that the coaches, like their combine, they could say, okay, I have so many requests or scouts. I want to scout this person, this person, this person.
Unlock
these. Right. There's a game I have on my tablet. There's a game I have on my tablet that does that. It's called Retro Football if you have an Apple device. And when you're looking at players that you want to pick up, you can scout what they call scouting. You have like 10 people you can scout or 15, and you can unlock those persons' potentials, and you get to see them.
Well, I think we've gotten off track here, guys, because we've gone from how we want to market for new coaches to now we're talking about masking potential.
Well, you're right, Mitch. You're right, Mitch. You're absolutely correct. I mean, I'm sitting here listening to this and having this kind of detailed discussion. Well, what are you gonna? How's a new guy gonna think about this? I mean, if it was me, I would just take the original ones that come out with the game, original rosters, and then you just put them out there, and those are the teams. And then you can do an old draft. I remember one time when I first started, there was this one draft where every team had so many points, and then there was all these players out there, and you just kind of bid on the points, and whoever got the most points for that player in that round got those players. And then you just keep going 4 or 5 times till everybody had their teams done, and then you go on, and boom. So you're not doing like a draft per se. But anyway, it's just so you do it super fast, super simple, and then we're going on to the league and playing. So go ahead.
But the other thing that got off track was we're talking about how to do the potentials of players in the XFBS. not about changing anything in the PNFL. And I don't think that's an assumption that the XFBS would use max pots. You could still have players with lower potentials if we decide to do it that way. But this was all a matter of what kind of players and what their potentials would be in the XFBS college league, not about anything about changing the PNFL currently.
Right. And I missed I didn't really read the thread, or I missed the discussion. So, okay, if it's for the college thing, and I have a comment on the college thing. I don't really care if Steve brings it back or not. The only thing I wish that league would be kind of what Mitch was talking about, where somehow that league was directly connected to the PNFL. Like all those players, they're going to graduate into our league. I wish it was that. But the way it is right now, if you just have random players, fictional players, I don't know what Steve does because I really don't pay attention to it. It just seems it doesn't really matter to me. In fact, if anything, I got to be honest, I don't really like it because I just assume it takes away time from the PNFL. The coaches who are coaching multiple teams, and I'm selfish. I want people to play in the PNFL. So, I mean, from that standpoint, if it's going to come back, I just wish it was tied into the PNFL somehow.
Well, I think that's a good idea. If the player ratings are done right, they would be tied, and that could populate the rookie pool in the PNFL. But on the other concern that you raised, and this is what I said before you joined us, Rich, the college league could be a way to bring people in who are not in the PNFL, and some of those people would then also, when they succeed in the college league, then would also join the PNFL. So I envision possibly a lot, if not a majority, and a few of us will coach two teams, but I envision most of the people in the college league would come in and initially coach in the college league first, and then they could step up to the PNFL. So I don't see it as competing against PNFL. I see it as complementing, adding to it. If those college players played 4 years in the college league and then they became rookies in the PNFL, that tie-in would strengthen it as well, and that would be great because you'd want to coach those players and then eventually have them on your PNFL team.
Right.
I think
that's what I'd like to see.
If we brought back some sort of secondary league, and I think maybe that's where we're trying to boil this thing back down to. If we brought back a secondary league, I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but PNFL is the godfather, and anything else would be secondary. I think we would want to do this as almost like our version of the UFL for new coaches, not necessarily the player part, because that's where I think I can lead into, all right, well, we'd have to make these ratings, this, that. But I think it really goes back to the original, I think, intent, and maybe some of the things that Shuggy was talking about is how can we do something, and not even it be PNFL, but how can we do something to try to bring in a new, new eyes to what we're doing with FB Pro, maybe even some eyes that have never even been much of a, PC gamer before, or at least NFL or, football, because it's been console pretty much, since 2000 feels like. And so I think, something that would be very simple, something where we can, have that professional, kind of up new, not professional, but more of a new, that new look, or a modern look to whether it's our, some of our documentation, things like that. So they would catch people's eyes and not look like, oh, here's some old retro game, but oh man, here's something that, like you said, kind of cool. All right, it's retro, but it's not get off my lawn, guys, until he gets in the forum, right? But it's get off my lawn. I mean, these guys seem to be, pretty cool. Then they find out we're all, old geezers and whatever.
Yeah, once you get into the WhatsApp chat.
I think that's where we have to kind of bring this back to, and that's why I was saying, kind of a next step after this. Maybe it is having some conversations around, hey, if we were to do this, what would be the social media sites that we would want to try to leverage, something like this on? What are some things we can do if we did a developmental piece to, again, not go and change stuff to PNFL, but kind of show, hey, here's the stepping stone to this, to the Godfather League, and kind of, even do a few things to kind of tweak some of the
like rule stuff, like Rich and I have talked a little bit about that, trying to make that a little bit simpler and clean that up. But that's where I think we've got to maybe get our conversation back to. I think right now we're getting into the weeds, and we haven't even gotten off the ground yet. We're getting into the weeds.
Exactly.
Well, obviously the 18 teams, we're the coaches in this league right now. Yeah, we're in the weeds talking about rules and all these different changes. What you're talking about is finding the next group of 18 who are going to play, the new coaches, a new generation of younger men who love football, who want to create custom plays and play this silly game, because the average age of this league is just getting older and older, right? So there's no young guys. I don't know how you reach out to these.
We got to find some people under 45 for crying out loud.
Yeah. I don't want to say anything, but the commissioner of the league is like 75. I mean, so it's he's getting up there.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, you got to look at exactly what you do in Front Page Sports, and you're basically programming a team. All right, you're programming a team. You're I don't know. Back in the day, I bought this gaming thing about create games, and essentially it was the play editor. Only you just kind of did something where if you triggered like a cornerback, okay, to cover a zone when the guy moved into it, okay, it would be a monster instead, and then you would fight the monster. I mean, so I think there would be a whole bunch of people that are techies right now that could understand this game if it was presented to them in what they're used to seeing.
Well, I think about what you just said there, Shuggy, is that, there isn't another game that, at least that I'm not aware of, because I keep looking on Steam all the time, and Mark and I have actually even tried out some other games just to kind of see, but it always falls short. And the one place it falls short is the play editor. None of these games have any kind of stable play editor. I know there's some that are in the works, but I think that's an area, again, if maybe how we present what this league has and does for people who might not know, is that, hey, you want to play a league where you can create your own plays, take your, you could be as, into the weeds, or you could be just the upstairs front office guy. I mean, this is your game,
And you're right. There might be some 20-something-year-old guys out there who are really smart, who will be able to create really cool offensive plays that work. Because let's face it, the guys we have in this league, no offense to anyone, the plays have grown kind of stale. Well, nobody's got anything new in the last bunch of years. So we do need some new blood in here to create some plays and kind of open things up a little bit. But I don't know where you find them. I don't know how you find them. I mean, who's the youngest guy in this league? He's got probably 40 years old. I mean, so I don't know where these new guys are coming from. I don't know how you reach them, because they're all attracted to the graphics, to, Madden 25 or whatever game is hot right now in football. I mean, nobody wants to go back and play Football Pro 98. I mean, the graphics are terrible.
Right.
I don't know. See that, but that's my point. I mean, that's why we got to make it cool, look cool even outside the game. We almost have to recreate a game. Okay.
Go do our own advertisements in a way,
Exactly.
Yeah, but ultimately, though, you could listen. I admit you could redesign the website to be the coolest thing in the world, and you could, make the rules pages all fancy and beautiful. But the bottom line is, you've got to install that game and open that game, and that's what's that's what wins, right? I mean, the guy has got to. I think Mitch has got it right with the custom plays. That's the most unique thing that this game brings. And so that's really something you have to sell to people.
No, look, the graphics are good enough. Okay, what creates value is the fact that you built that team and you program those plays. Okay, yeah.
For us,
if the graphics, no, for anyone that plays this game, I
don't think that's true, because otherwise 25 but they have or EA Sports with all these graphics. They're unbelievable, some of these games. I played like the NHL, the hockey. It almost looks like it's on TV. It's like, it's so unbelievable how good it looks. And young people are attracted to that. I don't know how I agree with you with Football Pro 98. I do think there is value in the history of this league and building a team and all that stuff. I totally get it. But I'm old. You're old, right? Most of these guys are old. I don't know how you convince a 25-year-old of that.
Well, we're not looking to sell this to 1 million people. We're just looking to get a small piece of the football gaming market.
You can factor in
and to be successful, we don't need all this eye candy and stuff like that. Okay, the reason why these games are successful is you can play them with a damn joystick practically, or those controllers, right? And that's why I switched. I quit playing those games that are live and action stuff because I can't keep up with my fingers anymore.
For the people, I think
so I came back to front page sports football because I didn't have to compete that way. I could
It's
just
almost
program my team and go.
Well, yeah, it's almost where the market would be the folks who play the text-based football games, but actually want to see some of that come out graphically.
We don't necessarily need 25-year-olds either. There's plenty of people in their
38-year-olds would be
enjoying
past our age anyway.
I think what it is that you would attract those who, I tried the Madden thing for a while and I was involved, playing that. Okay, fine. But, if you just want to be from that coaching side or that strategizing, set your strategies up, that's where it's going to pull in. You're not going to pull in the ones that want the eye candy and the joystick jockeys. You want the ones that are going to actually try to think about not being that person, A, B, B, X, Y. You're going to get the ones that says, if I run this play, how can my players beat that person? You want the ones that have that mindset of being a strategist, a coach, the thinking game, kind of like way back in the day when people were all heavy into chess, like they're still in now. They want, I want to play I want to play that strategy, just trying to out strategize that person. That's what we're going to pull in, and that's the people that we need to try to market and pull those in.
And those folks are going to be on boards for games like front office football, like draft day sports, some of these more text-based games, which, we can do a blitz of these different boards and create our own threads and things like that and do some other things. But, those are just some things that are coming to my mind.
Well, but how do you attract those 15 more coaches? If let's say for this league, 18 coaches, we could expand to 30. Where do we get these other 12? How do you get those people?
Like he said, get on their forums, get on their, see if we can get into their forums and discuss and say, hey, there's a new game. It's an old new game, if you want to call it that, or a new old game, and kind of give them a little heads up and say, hey, here's what we're doing. Check us out and see if it's something you guys might be interested in.
You get those 12 because you successfully run the college league, and when those people come in as football fans and learn how to play football for college league, then some of those become the 12.
Yep.
That's why I think the college football league.
Well, listen, if more guys want to get involved, that would be wonderful. Just for 25 years, it's been an uphill battle trying to recruit coaches, and all the websites that we used to go to post, for the league and stuff, they've all dried up. Listen, if there are places to post, please post. I don't.
Wasn't enough. So that's what my concern is about trying to go this way.
Well, it's obvious what we've got to do is that when we go to these other sites, we've got to post nudes of Mark. If we posted nudes of Mark on the sites, it would attract a whole new.
I don't think you want that. You don't want that. You don't want that.
Listen, I'm all for these ideas. I just personally I don't know how to do it. And as Steve just said, there's virtually no traffic on the Facebook page. There's like 125 members, and I got to be honest, I bet you half of them are fake. Sometimes I get requests for, these guys from Africa or some strange countries, and I don't even think a lot of them are real. And I just left them. But I don't know how you attract these people, but if they're out there, I agree with you. They're probably out there. There probably are guys 30, 40, 50 who would be very interested in this game if they knew about it. But all we seem to get are the old coaches from 25, 30 years ago, which is fine, but there's not enough of them.
Right.
So,
Well, I'll tell you
I
what.
don't know how we get these guys.
Well, we have plenty of time that we can talk about it and try to get the word out and just go forward with it. But since we are definitely running long on time, I'm going to put a pin in this one. And we don't have our spreads, but what I want to do is run through the games real quick. And
I forgot. I'll send those out tonight. I completely forgot about that.
And get those all set up. So let's go ahead and run through these quickly so we don't burn out all our time, because I think we're almost right at the 1 hour mark. So first game that we have up, we have New England going against Houston. It used to be KC. So like I said, we don't have much up front, but we're going to run through that. And we're going to start off with Dean. Dean. Okay, we'll start off with Shuggy.
Yeah, not so fast.
Yeah, not so fast.
I think this is I pulled the Mitch and I muted myself. That's what we're
Oh, you pulled the Mitch?
Upset special of the week. Yeah, I think this is an upset special of the week, and New England is going to pull off an upset here, and I think New England wants to prove their chance to do it.
All right, Shuggy.
Mitch.
Okay, going with Houston. Okay. Steve.
Houston.
All right. Rich.
Well, since I'm going to make the spread 21.5, I'm taking New England.
Yeah, right. You're taking New England.
I'm the one who makes the spread, so that's my pick.
All right.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rich. Just give us the instant spread.
I would give you the instant spread, but I won't remember it when I write it down and then post it. I'll screw it up.
All right. So Rich has New England on this one. I am taking Houston. Mitch.
Well, I was talking with Mox, and we've agreed to only use 3 downs in this game, for the Canadian piece, being our last-minute rule change that we want to do. It'll be fun. I know Mox beat me in that monsoon game last year, so I'm looking to start off the season strong. Though we never, I'll always seem to have my worst game in the season opener, but we'll see. But I think I can pull it out.
All right. Next one, we have Jacksonville against the Jets. Shuggy.
Jets.
That feels like 13.5.
All right. Steve.
Jets.
Rich.
Jacksonville.
Okay. Calling for the upset. They're going to do what they're going to do. Jets. Mitch.
I'll take the Jets, but I think George Plylevin will win Player of the Game.
Okay. Dean.
Yeah, I'm going Jets all the way on this one.
Okay. Next one, Las Vegas at Denver. Steve.
Las Vegas.
Okay. Rich.
Denver.
Ooh. I'm taking Vegas. Mitch.
I'll go with I'll take Vegas. Why not?
Okay. Dean.
Yeah, I'm going with the Raiders as well.
Okay. Shuggy.
Vegas.
Okay. Next game we have Washington at Seattle. Ooh, Rich.
Oof. That feels like 10.5. I'm taking Washington.
Okay. You know who I'm picking. Go Hawks. Mitch.
Yeah, I don't know if you can make a spread wide enough for this one, Rich. So I'll take Redskins.
Wow. Okay. You guys do know I have beaten them before. So, Dean.
Yeah, this game is being played just down the road from me. This is a home game for the Seahawks, and this is also an upset, and Seattle wins.
All right. Shuggy.
Washington.
Okay. Steve.
If he finds time after editing this video, Seattle.
All right. Next one. Philadelphia at LA. I'm taking my lead pipe lock. I had to go dig it up. I'm taking LA on this one. Mitch.
Yeah, LA's going to win.
Dean.
Yeah, I'm going to put a lead pipe lock on this, and the Chargers are going to win as well.
Shuggy.
Chargers.
Steve.
A lot of pressure there. I guess I'll have to go with LA with everybody else.
No pressure.
Just start Maurice. Start Space Cowboy.
Maurice Chandler.
Rich.
Do you guys factor in the points, or are you just picking? Everyone's just picking all the favorites.
Yeah, we just pick who we think.
All right.
will
Well,
win.
I'm thinking like 9.5, and I'm thinking I'd still take the Chargers.
I got my trusty coin out here that I'm flipping. Next one. Atlanta against the Giants. Mitch.
Well, being that I've heard nothing but how Atlanta keeps giving up points in their off-season camp, I'm going to go with the Giants.
Okay. Dean.
I am going to predict a close game and an upset by the visiting team.
Shuggy.
Who's the visiting team?
Atlanta.
Oh, all right. Yeah, all right. I'll take Atlanta.
Okay. Steve.
We mentioned Sean earlier today, so I'm going with Sean and the Giants.
Okay. Rich.
Yeah, this feels like 3.5 for the Giants. I'll take the Giants to cover.
All right. I am taking Atlanta for the upset this week. Next one, San Francisco at Indy. Dean.
I'm thinking that Indianapolis wins a close one here at home.
Okay. Shuggy.
Niners.
All right. Steve.
Indianapolis.
Okay, Indy. Rich.
This feels like 49ers minus 4.5. I'm going to take the Colts, though, at home.
Okay. I can't root for them. I got to take Indy. I can't go for San Francisco. Nope. Sorry, Charlie. Mitch.
Well, I think Charlie is going to try to bring out some fake plays, see if he can, do something to the Colts. But I think Tim and the Colts are going to win.
Okay. All right. Next one up, we have Minnesota at Chicago. And we are going to start with Shuggy this time.
I want Minnesota to win because I want them unbeaten when I play them.
Ooh. Okay. Steve.
I think it's going to be a close game. I think Minnesota will cover but not win, so I have to go with Chicago.
Okay. Rich.
I am thinking 9 or 10 points for the Cardinals are being favored, and I'm going to take the Cardinals to cover that.
Okay. I'm going to take the Cardinals as well. Mitch.
You know, I have that love for
The purple
Minnesota.
people eaters.
That doesn't change just because they switched to the easier conference. But I think Minnesota's going to win this game and prove a point. They're going to what's that line from Bull Durham? We're going to announce their presence with authority. So I'm taking Minnesota.
All right. Last game of week 1, Green Bay at.
Game yet.
Huh?
You didn't ask me about that game yet.
Oh, Dean, that's right. I'm looking at it right now. Dean.
Yeah, Chicago's going to win, but they're not going to cover that 9-10 spread. Be a close game because Minnesota's tough, but Chicago will pull it off.
Okay. Last game of week 1, we have Green Bay at Pittsburgh. Steve.
Green Bay, in their former life, as another team last season, were really hot going out the gate. This season, not so hot. Pittsburgh.
Ooh. Okay. Rich.
I don't know what the spread of this game is. I don't have a feel for either of these teams. I'm just going to say Pittsburgh at home.
Okay. I got to go with the Steelers. Pitt. Mitch.
I actually think this is going to be an very entertaining game. I think now with a season under his belt, I think Shug's going to have some adjustments to how he goes about it, and I think Pittsburgh is going to be much improved. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh, but I think this is going to be a fun game.
Yep, I agree. Dean.
I think a conventional game plan loses against Pittsburgh, but Green Bay's not going to run a conventional game plan, so I think Green Bay obsessed
Okay.
with a very innovative game plan.
All right, Green Bay. Shuggy, what you got?
Well, I think we're going to smash the Vikings.
So you're picking New England?
No, we're going to smash the Vikings. So, who are we playing?
You're playing Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. I was just looking forward to smashing the Vikings. Well, since one pundit picked me with the second to the worst roster, which after I think I had a great draft, by the way. And I did smash Pittsburgh last year. I guess you guys all forgot about that, right? And I'm going to use the same exact PPPs I used when I smashed them last year.
Ho.
Okay, because I don't have time to do anything else. Of course, I'm going to pick myself to win.
Okay, he's got the trash going tonight.
Let's go. Let's bring it.
Go.
28-7 in Week 8. Anaheim smashed Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Okay. All right, guys. So
was that during their fall as L.A. and Pittsburgh were trying to race to the playoffs?
Yeah, I think so. Early race, yes. So
every week, Steve, I've quit. I'm done. Golly, everybody keeps losing.
Well, I guess I better win and keep going.
Well, crap, I made the playoffs.
Yep, I made the playoffs. I'm in.
Guys.
Oh, well.
Can't you beat me?
I remember that whole thing about tanking, and I said, if this is what tanking looks like, I need to try it.
There you go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We are way longer than what we anticipated, but hey, guess what? This is a good thing. So as we come to wrap everything up, I'm going to make one quick run around the table, starting off with Dean.
Good luck in your games this weekend, and some of us are going to need some of that luck.
All right, Shuggy.
Yeah, I just want to go back to the reason why I was on the show. You know, I would like us to do something to make this league seem really cool to play in so that more people would want to join.
Yep, and if there's ideas out there, let us know. Steve.
I'm hoping you're all ready by now. That's all I'm going to say.
Rich.
2 quick things. Friday, midnight PPPs for everybody. That's the way it goes going forward. Don't forget, Friday, not Saturday. The second thing is, I see that some teams started to bid went from 0 to a half a point. You're really not, that's not the way this was supposed to work. It goes from 0 to 1. And we don't do half points when we start at 0. So anyone who's listening, don't do that. I mean, I'll let those bids go for now, but it goes from 1 to 1.5, but 0 to 1. If you win the player at 0.5, you're not getting a 3-year contract. You're still getting a 1-year contract.
Okay.
So we're just throwing that out there.
All right. I think it's going to be an interesting start to the season, and it should be fun. Mitch, final words for you. Take us home.
Yeah, good discussion tonight. I think if nothing else, to kind of get some things in the universe for maybe a smaller group of us to kind of huddle up on and maybe put some things on paper, kind of where to go next. But some good thoughts, some good things. I think we'd all like to come up with a way to attract some new folks into the universe, the FB Pro universe with us over here. So it'd be fun. But other than that, I hope everyone is geared up. We're about 48 hours away from PPPs being due. So the only thing left to do now, let's get it.